Monday, April 1st, 2013, and this is the StephenBlakesley.com podcast. On today's podcast, we will talk to Elk Grove native Paul McMahan about his recent commitment to the World of Outlaws and to preview the Outlaws show at the newly redesigned Calistoga Speedway. But first, a look at the racing results from this week. Friday night was the opener for the Ocean Sprints presented by Taco Bravo on a heavy racetrack in Watsonville. Brad first started the main event on the pole after claiming fast time, but was overhauled by Justin Sanders at the start. Sanders simply dominated the feature, building a half-lap advantage before getting hung up in lap traffic. A huge turnout of fans witnessed a stunning finish as First swept past Sanders on lap 29 to take the victory. Cowboy Craig Smith fended off Nick Green to finish third as well.
Yeah, it feels real good. The guys had the car good. Kind of set it up for late in the race so we could get up there when nobody could, with stuck the right rear out a long way. I'm real happy, man. My guys just did a great job. In the middle of the race, no. I started to see him there a little bit and said, hey, it's time to give it a shot, now or never.
Justin Sanders expressed disappointment and frustration at lap traffic after finishing second after a dominant performance.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Bradford. He did a great job. Even though I'm pissed off for what happened, he still did a great job. He was able to get by me over there, and I thought I had a good lead and tried to get under lap cards, for about 4 laps straight, and didn't want to wreck into him because the track's so fast. What else was I supposed to do? I guess it's better to be second sometimes, but no, he did a great job, and the only thing I don't understand is I thought there's supposed to be a blue move-over flag for all lap cars, but I didn't see that one time in the race. But
Friday night was also the opener for the 410 sprint cars at Silver Dollar Speedway in Chico. Oregon's Roger Crockett scored the win with 2012 track champion Sean Becker in tow for a second-place finish, while Willie Croft rounded out the podium in third. The World of Outlaws continued their busy western swing with a trip to the tight bull ring at Merced Speedway on Friday night. Kyle Larson led the first 13 laps in dominating fashion before cutting down a right rear tire after hitting debris. Sammy Swindell took advantage to take the 40-lap win ahead of Cody Dara, with Larson unable to crack the top 10 as he tried to come through the pack. On Saturday, the sprint car world turned its attention over to Antioch for the Civil War sprint cars. A 28-car field that included many outlaws and touring drivers put on a feature held while rain was falling. Brett Rolag of Rohnert Park outlasted them all to win on a slippery surface, topping Justin Sanders and Kyle Larson the top three.
For the Civil War race tonight at Antioch, Brett Rolag, I guess you got away with one. Got that start up front tonight. That was certainly the place to be. It was just about raining the whole race, and those cars battling behind you, but you just being out in front, I think, on that slippery track was the way to be.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was you had to start on the front row tonight, and I knew I just couldn't make any mistakes and just hit my marks, and it was hard to pass, and it kept raining, and it just got greasy. So I'm just happy, and I want to say this one's for Marcus Johnson and Dale Warner Jim.
The second place finish for Justin Sanders gave him a pair of seconds on the weekend, while third place for Kyle Larson was a nice comeback after the troubles he had at Merced.
Third place tonight at the Civil War at Antioch, Kyle Larson. Last night was a hard night for you, heartbreaker, getting that flat tire while leading the Outlaw race. But tonight came from 8th to 3rd on a very, very slippery track. So you're one of the only drivers that went forward tonight.
Yeah, it was. I just couldn't believe we got the whole race, and it was raining from the start, and it was actually pretty fun. You had to, after the yellows, you had to wait for a groove to get burned in and not be so slick. So you're just happy we got the feature in, and it's a solid finish with third. I think we would have been a little bit better, had it not been raining, but it was still fun tonight.
Other racing on Saturday included Cody Swanson of Norco winning the USAC Western Midgets at Bakersfield against a 28-car turnout, and Cole Custer winning the late model season opener at Madera Speedway. This weekend we'll see points openers at Roseville's All-American Speedway and Placerville Speedway, along with the Spears SRL Southwest Tour racing at Stockton 99 Speedway. The Ocean Sprints presented by Taco Bravo will race again on Friday, and the World of Outlaws will compete at Antioch on Friday and Calistoga on Saturday. The USAC CRA sprint cars will return to action at Paris Auto Speedway as well in a busy week for California racing. When we come back to the StephenBlakesley.com podcast, we'll talk to Paul McMahan to preview this week's World of Outlaws at Calistoga. But first, a look at our sponsors. StephenBlakesley.com is brought to you by MotoWear International. Throughout the world of racing, there is a common thread: MotoWear. Online at MotoWear.com. And also brought to you by Matt Jackson of Proline Pit Carts, the promoter of the Toyota Southwest Superlates, racing on the road course at Willow Springs in 2013. For more information, visit swsracing.com. And also brought to you by QMParts.com, the one-stop shop for all your quarter midget racing needs. Get your parts today at QMParts.com. And we're back on the StephenBlakesley.com podcast, and we're talking to Paul McMahan, who is originally from Elk Grove, California, and races with the World of Outlaws. And Paul, thanks for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me on the show today.
So if you look at your history with racing throughout Northern California, a lot of that history really centered around Calistoga Speedway in the early 90s, and you had a lot of success there in 1995 and 1996 with NARC. Can you tell us how significant Calistoga was in your career?
Calistoga was a big deal for me. I grew up basically in Calistoga with NARC when I used to go watch my uncle race here back in the non-wing days. And then my mom and dad and Kenny Pearson owned a race car, and Billy Yawn and Steve Scott and Rick Hurst and a lot of others drove the car there. And always looked forward to going to Calistoga. It was always it's a neat racetrack with the background settings it has, and with all the wineries that you drive up through, and it's just a great place to race, and I was fortunate enough to be pretty successful there.
And in 2011, you scored quick time at Calistoga with the Outlaws, and you've started off the 2013 season with a lot of strong runs. I have to think you must be pretty optimistic about Saturday up there.
Oh, most definitely. Love going back to Calistoga, and it's one of my favorite tracks in California, and to go back there again is great. I don't get to race there as much as I used to, but the one time we get to go back, I look forward to it.
And if we could go back to when you started in sprint car racing, of course, the McMahan family, you guys are heavily involved in sprint car racing. How did you get started, and how did you end up where you are today, all the way up in the Outlaws?
Well, I started racing when I was 5 years old. It's been in my mom's side of the family for, 60 some odd years now. My grandfather raced micros and midgets, and then it progressed to my uncle racing sprint cars, and then my mom, she raced quarter midgets and 3/4 midgets back when she was young, and it was just kind of something that the McMahan family was going to do no matter what, was go racing. And I started quarter midget racing in 1976 at the age of 5, and we just raced. That's what we did. People play baseball, people do this and that. We went racing everywhere. Everything that revolved around our family vacations and everything else just was about racing. We'd go to Oklahoma for quarter midget nationals, but it'd be a family vacation at the same time, and everything we've done our whole lives has revolved around racing.
And you came into the Western swing in this number 51 car without really any plans of going after the World of Outlaws points, and then you guys signed up last week at the Mini Gold Cup and got the main event victory, and now you find yourself second in the points with a win, 7 top 10s. This has been a pretty exciting start to the year for you guys.
I tell you what, it's been the best start of the season for me, in a long time. I was fortunate enough to get that win last week at Chico, and and Chad and Jane Clemens have given me a great opportunity to pursue a lifelong dream of mine and pursue a World of Outlaws championship again. So we're in a pretty good spot, being second in points this early in the season. It's a long season, so there's a lot of races still to go, but we are in a great spot. Our plan was just to run, a bunch of different races, all the big money shares, all that good stuff, and then go run the World of Outlaws in 2014, but with the way we started off the season, we really couldn't pass up the opportunity that we have right now, being second in points and only 80-some points out of lead. So we just decided last Saturday that we would sign the platinum agreement with the World of Outlaws, and it really excited me because this is what I wanted to do since I was 8 years old, was race with the World of Outlaws, and to have that opportunity and be in the situation we are right now is is pretty exciting.
And as you look forward on this 2013 campaign, of course, running a full-time World of Outlaws program is very ambitious. And I think you've said before this is kind of an inexperienced team as far as kind of new to ownership in sprint car racing. Are there some steps you guys are taking now, perhaps bringing on some more people, buying some more cars? Are there anything you guys are going to do differently now that you're signed up full-time on the Outlaws?
No, I mean, Chad and Jim, they've only been in the sport for about 7 years, but, they ran Williams Grove every weekend with Fred Raymer. So, to run in Pennsylvania, you pretty much already have an outlaw team established. You just never have gone out and done the travel part of it. So that's the biggest thing this year is just, is the traveling and having to make hotel rooms and finding places to stay and just logistically putting yourself in the, easiest spot so we can get home and get cars ready and this and that. But we were loaded for bear when we started the season, and now we're just adding a few odds and ends to make sure that we're ready for everything that might come towards us, at a racetrack.
And if you look at this Western World of Outlaws swing, obviously this Stockton event that we just had a couple weeks ago, that has to stand out in your mind. I would imagine it's one of the biggest World of Outlaws races we have now on the West Coast. And it was kind of interesting with that race being not too far from your hometown at Elk Grove down there in Stockton. You got quick time. What were your impressions of that whole deal at Stockton?
Stockton was really neat. It was really neat to see all the fans there. A lot of them were probably the first time they've ever came to a sprint car race. A lot of them come just to see Tony Stewart. But the good thing is now they've seen a sprint car race. Now they might have become a fan and they might go to more races. So anytime that Tony comes and brings fans just to see him, it puts our sport out in the limelight a little bit more, and we draw more fans that way. But Stockton was neat. Standing room only. You couldn't ask for a better first time ever at a racetrack, and it probably had to be one of the biggest crowds ever in California history of sprint car racing.
And if you look at the changes that are being proposed, or I guess that are already underway up there at Calistoga for this weekend, it includes widening the track a little bit on the inside, I guess by about 20 feet, and also adding to the banking a little bit. I don't know if you've gotten up there to see what they've been doing, or what are your impressions just from the sounds of it of what they're thinking of doing up there?
It sounds like they're doing a lot of improvements there. I was a big fan of the racetrack the way it was before with the infield, the way it was kind of built up. It made it a little bit unique racetrack. I just hope it doesn't make, with the banking they put in, doesn't make it just single file racing, because now you have banking on the racetrack that you don't have to move up on the racetrack as much. So, Calistoga back when I was there was flat and slick, and you could run 2 lanes around, you could run through the middle and stuff like that. So hopefully that it doesn't change that a whole bunch.
So now you live in Tennessee, so it's kind of a whole different thing than living in Elk Grove, California. We had Brian Clausen on the show a couple weeks ago, and of course he's from Carmichael, now living in Indianapolis. And he said one of the things for him is when he gets back to California, he has to get his In-N-Out, he has to get his round table pizza. With this extended Western swing, are there any things you try to do when you get back to California? Go up to the mountains, see your family? What kind of things do you partake in when you come back to California every year?
I for sure partake in my round table pizzas and my In-N-Out burgers, and I got to hit my Jim Boy's tacos because you can't get those anywhere else in the country. But other than that, I just kind of hang out with my guys and work on the race car. I see friends and family at the races. It's easier for me just to tell them to come to the racetrack because I got so many friends scattered and family scattered across the state of California that it's too hard to see everyone. But they know where I'm at every Friday and Saturday night when I'm here, so they can come see me and get to see some good racing while they're at it.
Well, Paul, we want to thank you for coming on to our show, and you guys are having an excellent start to the year, and we hope you can keep that up throughout the season, and good luck this weekend at Antioch and Calistoga.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show, and hopefully we can get another couple wins here before we leave California, but like we say every night at the CJB 51, is top 5 is what we shoot for every night, and if we do that, the wins will come.
We want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of the StephenBlakesley.com podcast. A reminder, we will have live Twitter updates Friday night from Ocean Speedway for the Ocean Sprints presented by Taco Bravo. You can follow us on our Twitter handle at Stephen Blakesley for updates all night long. And for the best in short track racing news, you can follow us on our website, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you at the races.